Hello there. Thank you for joining me in my booth. Now, I have a confession to make. I have never, ever read a single page of a Harry Potter book. Now, partly that's because reading is for nerds, and partly that's because I was functionally illiterate until the age of 24. But recently, I understand that many people have been put off of J.K. Rowling because of her public demeanor. Now, I decided that I would try to do a public service by finding a story that had all of the magic of Harry Potter without the troubling involvement of Miss Rowling's authorship. So I went on fanfiction.net and I found a story by user Proud Housewife. Now, in Proud Housewife's chef-d'oeuvre, she has rewritten and reimagined the story of Harry Potter without the troubling aspects of witchcraft and England. Instead, we have a wonderful world of blue jeans and piety, which kids can enjoy. So, get the whole family together and gather round as we jump into Chapter 1 of Hogwarts School of Prayer and Miracles. Once upon a time, there was a little boy named Harry Potter, who lived under the stairs in a house on Privet Drive with his aunt and uncle. He was a good, obedient boy who did all his chores, but he felt that there was something missing in his life. Something big and special, but he could not quite name it. He stayed up every night and wished for this special something. But then one day there was a knock at his door, and everything changed.
"Answer the door, Harry,"
his Aunt Petunia, a career woman, barked from her armchair where she sat with her feet up. She had short, curly blonde hair and never wore any makeup. Uncle Vernon nodded sheepishly from the kitchen and put a tray of moist, chocolatey brownies in the oven. Shouldn't you be doing that? Harry thought. But he was a very obedient young boy, so he answered the door right away. He turned the brass metal doorknob and pulled open the heavy wooden door. On the porch was standing a huge, muscular man with a big, manly beard, and he was dressed in a plaid red shirt, blue jeans, and sturdy leather boots. His chest was covered in a thick, unruly carpet of coarse brown hair. He wore a necklace that looked to Harry like a lowercase t. Just looking at it, Harry felt happy, peaceful somehow, but he couldn't say why.
"Good morning, kiddo,"
the man greeted amiably and smiled at Harry. He had the peaceful, friendly sort of face you just knew you could trust.
"My name is Hagrid. Could I speak to your mummy and daddy?"
"I don't have a mummy or daddy," Harry replied sadly, and looked at his raggedy old shoes that were blue. Perhaps that was why he felt so lonely. Maybe that was what he was missing, a mummy and daddy. But no, that was not quite right.
"I am so sorry to hear that,"
Hagrid uttered empathetically. "You can speak with my auntie and uncle," Harry retorted politely and blinked his big, blue, childlike eyes.
"What do you want?"
Aunt Petunia peered out the door with her narrow, suspicious eyes, and she was wearing a baggy, unflattering pantsuit.
"Hello, neighbor. I was wondering if you have been saved,"
Hagrid exclaimed brightly, and tipped his wide-brimmed straw cowboy hat. Aunt Petunia laughed a gravelly laugh and leaned forward on her sturdy, practical boots.
"So behaved. Don't tell me you are one of those Christians.
Harry did not know what that word meant, but Hagrid's smile was the most peaceful smile he had ever seen. It made Harry feel warm and happy inside just seeing the glowing, radiant grin on the kind, friendly stranger's face. He wondered why Aunt Petunia and Uncle Vernon did not smile like that.
Yes, I am, Hagrid replied kindly. Are you?
Aunt Petunia laughed again and stuck her pointy, sharp nose up in the air.
We are too smart for that. Haven't you read Dawkins? God is dead. Dawkins proved that. Would you like us to educate you on the Dawkins?
What is a Christian? Harry queried innocently, and scuffed his shoe on the shaggy, yellow carpet which had not been vacuumed in quite some time.
Christians are people who want to be good,
Hagrid explained wisely, and crouched down so he was on eye level with Harry.
We want to go to heaven after we die. Do you know what heaven is, Harry?
Harry shook his head, and his big eyes were wide and curious.
Heaven is a beautiful place where we can be with God.
Aunt Petunia smacked her hands over Harry's young ears, and her voice was sickly sweet when she said,
Thank you very much for your concern, sir. But he does not need your religion. He has science and socialism and birthdays. Haven't you heard of evolution? I have a very good textbook on evolution that I could give you on it if you would like to learn things.
Hagrid laughed wisely.
Evolution is a fairy tale. You don't really believe that, do you?
Yes, I do,
Aunt Petunia screeched.
Well, then, prove it.
Aunt Petunia could only stare at him, and her big mouth hung open dumbly. Here she thought she was so educated, and always demanded that Christians prove what they believed in. But she couldn't even prove her own religion. It was then that Harry knew who the smart one here was. "Tell me how to get to this heaven place," Harry cried wistfully, clasping his hands together. Sometimes the wisdom of little ones is really amazing. We think we grown-ups know it all. But then God speaks through the mouths of little ones and shows us how we are all mortals struggling along the path of life. Humility.
All you have to do is be saved. Do you want to be saved?
I do, Harry squealed, jumping up and down.
Then pray the sinner's prayer.
Aunt Petunia tried to stop him, but she was powerless against Harry's pure, innocent, holy energy. Soon Harry had said the prayer. Hagrid beamed happily.
You're a Christian now, Harry,
Hagrid cried proudly. Harry smiled, but then interrogated. But how do I be a Christian? I don't know how. Hagrid grinned widely.
There is only one place to learn that. Hogwarts School of Prayer and Miracles.